Living in California, and especially in the Los Angeles area, we truly have beautiful weather most of the time. And because of that, well, it's not the best thing to do to actually stay home. So a lot of people here in Los Angeles love to go on hikes, and me myself living here, well, I'm no exception to that. And there's a ton of hiking trails. Some of them are harder, some of them are more easy, and some of them are more convenient to get. And this hiking trail that we're going on today is really central to Los Angeles, and I really love it because there's so much nature and so many things to discover in this place, and I just can't wait to see what's here to explore and to find. Hey guys, and welcome to this vlog. In this video, we're actually going to be exploring Runyon Canyon, which is actually one of the more, I'll say, popular hikes in the Hollywood area. There's actually two entrances to this hike, one on Fuller Avenue and another one on Mulholland Drive. And even though this is not the hardest hike or the most beautiful hike, what I do enjoy about this hike in particular is the fact that it's very centrally located, and at the same time, when you do get to the peak of the hike, you get to see a beautiful view of downtown Los Angeles, and actually pretty much the whole of Los Angeles, including Santa Monica on some days where there's not too much fog. And also, this park is really known for having a pretty liberal aspect on letting your dog kind of roam free on most of the property and most of the hikes. So it's a really pleasant place if you want to walk your dog and at the same time have a hike and enjoy the view and maybe even get some fresh air. So without any further ado, let's explore! Runyon Canyon was purchased in 1984 from its last private owners, Dad Development, for use as a city park by the Santa Monica Mountains Conservancy in the city of Los Angeles. No Man's Canyon was the English name given to the gorge, which lies above Franklin at Fuller Avenue and extends north to Mulholland Drive. It is reputed to have been a seasonal campsite for local Gabrielino Tongva Indians who hunted in the area known to them as Nopalera. Walking through Runyon Canyon, there's actually one specific location that is really close to my heart, and this location is actually right behind me. It's a location where there's a bunch of remnants of some sort of old building or some sort of old structure that used to be right here at Runyon Canyon. And yes, I love looking at these structures because, well, it just makes me wonder, well, what was here? What was the building that was here? What was it used for? But at the same time, as I did say, it has a really close and special place in my heart. And the reason why it's so special is because back in 2008 and 2009, well, I was filming a short martial art film that I was just doing myself. And a lot of the locations that were used in that short film were in this park at this location with all the remnants of this structure that used to be here. And even though maybe a lot of people might not think this is special, well, to me it is, and this is why I'm highlighting it. And yes, just saying that I had a really good time filming all of this right here a couple of years back. After doing a little bit of research on the building remains, I found out that John McCormack had built a mansion on the Runyon Canyon property in 1929 called San Patrizio after St. Patrick. He and his wife lived in the mansion until they returned to England in 1938. Later on, Jules Berman, who had made a fortune importing the well-known Mexican coffee-flavored liqueur Kahlua, saw the estate potentially as a Tiffany development, a beautiful subdivision of 157 luxury homes. After purchasing the canyon, he raised San Patrizio and the guest houses to avoid paying taxes on the deteriorating structures. His Huntington Hartford Estates development encountered resistance, and the project was stopped in 1978 before building could begin. One thing about this whole Runyon Canyon is the fact that there's actually a bunch of different trails to get to the top of this hike. And for this video, we're actually going to be going on the East Trail, which is probably the most common one and the one that all the people go to because, well, it's a straight line from the entrance. And it goes all the way up, as I said, and it gives you a beautiful view of the city. And as I did mention, it's not the most difficult hike, but one thing that I will say is that it is kind of steep in some areas. And yeah, if you're coming on this hike, do take some water just because, well, the heat of California, the heat of Los Angeles can kind of strike really fast. And yeah, you don't want to get dehydrated. There are 3 routes to hike Runyon Canyon from the Fuller Gate: Runyon Canyon Road, which is the easy trail, the Star Trail, which is the medium level trail, and the Hero Trail, which, as the name indicates, is the difficult trail. One thing to take note of if you are a dog owner is that the park is also known for having a fairly liberal dog policy, with dogs allowed off-leash in 90 of the park's 160 acres. Isn't the California nature so interesting? That's one thing that I really love about California, is the fact that it is very desert-like. So when we have all of these hikes, yes, we have a lot of nature and we do have some trees, but there's a lot of cacti too and a lot of dryness. And this is why there's a lot of signs that kind of remind you that there shouldn't be any fires that are initiated on these hikes. But at the same time, it is kind of cool to see all of this really dry nature. And as I said, it almost sometimes feels like you're walking through the desert, but at the same time then you're reminded that you're not really walking through the desert because there's all of these people around you, but it is really beautiful. Didn't I tell you guys that this hike was kind of steep? And one of the highlights of this hike is the fact that they actually have a section of it that has a bunch of stairs that go all the way up. And a lot of people who love to train and to jog and to go uphill and to make maybe their training a little bit harder, well, they actually go up and down these stairs. And I will say one thing, going up the stairs is always easier than going down the stairs because, well, they are pretty steep and there's a lot of places where you can kind of slide. But at the same time, as I did mention, going higher is always worth it because the view is just so beautiful. Going up the stairs takes the hiker up an 18-degree slope and then along the spine of the ridge to the second highest point in the canyon with magnificent views to the west and south. This is a considerably more taxing climb than the previous routes and is followed by a descent via either Runyon Canyon Road or the Star Trail and will take between 45 and 60 minutes. Kind of like how Le Pont des Arts used to be in Paris before they took away all the locks, well, Runyon Canyon actually has a whole gate that is filled with a bunch of locks that basically represent maybe the love of a bunch of people that came here and walked on this hike. And well, the keys are nowhere to be seen. So either they took away the keys or they threw it away somewhere on the hike. But at the same time, I love seeing these kind of things because, well, it is artistic. And since this hike is a little bit difficult in some sections, being able to see some cool stuff that is kind of artistic, well, will kind of entertain you and maybe distract you from the fact that there's a lot of heat and that the hike, well, will make you sweat quite a lot and that you need a lot of water to maybe get through this whole hike. But yes, at the same time, I love these kind of things, as I said, and I love seeing artistic things, and it is beautiful in its own way. And yeah, it's right here at Runyon Canyon. Since the 2000s, love locks have proliferated at an increasing number of locations worldwide. They are now mostly treated by municipal authorities as litter or vandalism, and there's some cost to their removal. However, there are authorities who embrace them and who use them as fundraising projects or tourist attractions. The real reason that love locks are often frowned upon is because they often add too much weight to existing structures and can compromise the architectural integrity of the bridges, fences, or other structures that they may be padlocked on. But as mentioned, they also do add touristic interest, so in some ways they are loved but also hated. Didn't I promise you guys a beautiful view? Well, here we are on top of the Runyon Canyon hike, and the view is truly spectacular. You don't get a full 360 view, but you get, well, over 200-degree view spanning from Santa Monica all the way to downtown LA. And even if you look a little bit further, well, you can even see Hollywood and the Hollywood sign. And it is truly gorgeous. As you can probably tell from what I'm filming, well, there is quite a lot of smog in the city. So when you are right here on this hike and up above a lot of the smog, well, enjoy this fresh air because it's not easy to basically breathe all this fresh air when you are in such a polluted city. On top of the Runyon Canyon hike, there is an oversized bench that is probably the nicest place to enjoy the fact that you made it on top of the hiking trail, and as a pleasant reward, this location offers a breathtaking view of Hollywood. This is probably the best place to smell the fresh air and maybe stay in awe at how many houses, streets, and people are living in this region of California. And yes, the second part of the hiking trail, which basically is a loop which brings you back all the way down to Fuller Avenue, is, well, full of concrete. But one thing that I must say is that if people don't want to have too much of a hard hike, maybe this might be the trail that you want to take, because it isn't too steep, it is pretty simple. And then in the end, well, you do get that beautiful view. But I do love having that dirt path, so this is not my preferred hiking trail, but at the same time I can actually acknowledge the fact that there is some utility to it, and not just some utility because it is a hiking trail, but also because, well, this would actually be the path that the fire truck would have to take if they had a fire. And since I did mention that this is California and we have a lot of fires, well, we do need to have a fire truck path, and this is it. Here we are back on North Fuller Avenue, and as you guys can tell, well, we're not on a hiking trail anymore, so, well, this is the end of the video. This is the end of the vlog. I really hope that you guys enjoyed coming on this hike with me and exploring Runyon Canyon, and if you did enjoy it, well, please be sure to subscribe, hit the like button, leave me a comment too. Let me know if there's maybe other areas here that you'd like me to visit. Could be hiking trails or just areas in general in the LA, California area, or maybe suggest to me other places in America. Maybe I'll make a video about it. Who knows? But either way, have a great day, and I'll see you guys in the next video.